So I bet you have heard this. People have told you to focus because you look like you're scattered. It looks like you are all over the place. And I'm going to tell you this, that is my experience all of the time. And one of the things I want you to understand, so first of all, I'm going to tell you why that is sometimes a good thing, and then why is that sometimes a bad thing, and then hopefully if you stick with this and you follow along, I will teach you how to manage this so that you can understand it a little bit better. Good morning. So the reason why that people think that you should focus is because of specialization, something that we've known for 300 years. Since Adam Smith, he's a really famous economist that sort of created the field of economics. And it was based on this very simple principle that if you focus in a certain area, that you can gain economies. So meaning you can get better at a particular domain and it gets more efficient, and you can start recuperating on some of the benefits of the work that you're actually doing. And this logic is often told across people. So first of all, we know that people can actually get better. We know that companies can get better by specializing within a particular domain, and they get more efficient. And it's been very clear for a long time that we can see that there are these benefits from it. And a lot of it has to do with following down. So why? A lot of it has to do with following down what is called the learning curve. The more that you do something, the more that you understand a particular domain, and the more that people understand you for something, and that something is really, really important. Now, all of that works really, really well if you picked your domain very well, right? And if you picked your domain very well, then you can get efficient and get a lot of returns from this. By the way, I'm a business professor. I think about this stuff all of the time, and it's deeply part of my life because I'm building the reciprocity project. It's something that other people don't understand, and so I'm a research academic. People don't understand this. What we're supposed to do is spend all of our time reading and writing, but I'm building a software platform to help researchers enjoy what they're doing, to turn it into a fun thing, to make it silly. So coming back to, why is this not always a good thing? So dude, Selznick, comes back in the 1950s, and I think it was the 1950s, and he says, wait a minute, if we optimize on something, but the field changes and the arena we're playing in completely changes, all of a sudden we're going to be optimizing and getting really efficient in a particular area that is no longer relevant. It's like if you become the best piano manufacturer or the best typewriter manufacturer, people still use those things. I saw a dot matrix printer in an airport a month ago, and it's 2025, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So there's people that are still doing those things and optimizing on those things, and I'm probably the best manufacturer of doing that, but nobody cares, right? Like, it's completely irrelevant. And so there's this way of thinking about things, and there's been some even optimization algorithms that have been developed that's based on the sort of logic of this, that what you want to do is search really, really broadly for some time, and then start getting optimized in a particular domain and start really getting efficient in a particular domain. So exploration early on is actually really good, right? Like if you are in your 20s, if you are in your 30s and you optimize, or if you sort of kind of wander around, try things, find out what you like to do, that's actually a really wonderful thing, because that means that you'll find the thing that you will love, right? It's a little bit more challenging than that because you have to know what you're looking for. You have to know what sort of resonates with you, and a lot of people don't. It's very difficult to actually do. Now, here's the thing, right? So here's the problem. The trouble with this And I don't think too many people have actually written about this, so somebody's going to steal my idea. I know it. Um, the problem is that you don't know how long is long enough to explore in a particular domain. And if you continuously explore when you're younger, you might continuously do that until essentially you're just too old and you're irrelevant. Or at least that's what people say, right? Like you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and you're still wandering around trying to figure out what you really like to do. And people are saying, oh, why are you doing that? You're irrelevant. You're kind of like silly. For me, I'm in my mid 40s now. And people are like, yeah, why are you doing this? Why are you building software? You should be focusing, enjoying the life that you're supposed to be doing. Yeah. Yes, that is the case, right? But here's the challenging thing is you really never know when is a good time to stop and optimize on. It's like this financial advice that you often hear. Hold on. Sorry about that. It's a little bumpy. I'm just trying to do this with my arm, and I got shoulder surgery on my right arm about 10 years ago, and it's not necessarily as strong as my left arm. So the key thing is you never really know how much that you should explore and how much you should optimize on. It's like this advice that you get about people saying, you should save X amount for your retirement and then just kind of live off that retirement. You really never know what the right amount is. It's like completely ambiguous, right? People have these sort of throw around these numbers, so you never really quite know what you actually need. So here's the crutch of it, or here's what you actually do. Here's the thing that you think about. So first of all, you kind of want to do both, right? There's huge amounts of literature that suggests that you do both over time, right? So you are kind of being very specialized in a particular domain, but kind of not. You're always kind of exploring for different things, looking for different things. Now, the challenge that I think is most important is that people look at you and you think that you're crazy when you're doing things that are kind of off the rocker, right? And you're kind of looking around and doing things, and so people are going to be like, why are you doing that? So here's what you do. You kind of cheat code things, right? So the cheat code but you have to be somewhat authentic about it, is you pick your domain and you be very focused on this thing that you really love, that you think you really love for a long time, and you can keep doing it for a long time, and then there's lots of opportunity for a long time. And that's almost anything in this world, right? Like anything related to the world. you could be the world's foremost expert of looking at mud puddles. It's my running joke. You can look at it in previous videos. But what you can do is take that one thing, and then whenever there's things that sort of suit your fancy, you look at how it actually applies that, this bigger domain, the things that you're looking at, the sort of weird things, and then you think about how it actually applies to what you're actually interested in. So that's one thing. But people are still going to look at you and say that you're kind of off the rocker. That's where you actually frame it in such a way. That's where you have to be really smart and clever and frame it in such a way that it's part of your identity and people understand it. And that's the harder part. It might take some moments where people look at you weird. Here's an armadillo. I don't know if anybody can see that. Right there. I don't know, let me see, right there in the corner. So you do it. So yes, it feels weird and it looks weird, but it's part of your identity and it somehow fits, right? There's a lot of people that sort of think about that as how you do these things or do this really well. So it just kind of fits as part of who you actually are. Oh, cool. There's a deer. Way out there. You can't see it, I bet, because it's so too tiny, but way out there's a deer. So you do it so it sort of fits with part of what you are doing that is kind of at the boundary of uncomfortableness for you, but also fits within the domain that you're doing. And if you do that, then all of a sudden it sort of makes sense to everybody else, and you can kind of hide it, but still do those kind of crazy, weird things. A little bit difficult to do, but I think if you're clever and you're smart enough, which I think you are, you can go do it. So if you figure this out, let me know, leave some comments, and let's get going.